because primary healthcare centers, I think we have over 50. We have the general hospitals, we have the teaching hospitals, we have private hospitals, and we also have faith-based hospitals, those Catholic hospitals, quote unquote, and the Canada local government. So we have 115 where drugs are available. Now, for the others outside those 115, what they can do is to provide testing, and when they find positive, they're able to refer to this 115. And I know there was a time, there was a rumor that we don't have drugs. No. Currently, we actually received supply. Was it last week or the week before? We actually have because what we try to do is to have 4 months stock. So currently, I can tell you that based on the number that we expect to be taking the drugs, we have supply to us, and they are distributed to those 115 facilities. The worst that has ever happened to us is 2 months supply. But before we get to 2 months supply, we have done the requisition, and so as we speak right now, we have 4 months supply of drugs.
There's something I want to handle with those of you with primary health care. Just like Doctor has said now, these drugs are here. We have supplies. Story has it that sometimes when they come, you say there's no drugs.
There has always been drugs for them to take, and it's free of charge. So whenever they come, the drugs are there. Let's say because of this short staffing and all that, somebody might come when maybe the person that is supposed to deliver that drug.
And I know most of those health centers have phone numbers you can call. So if you walk into even the general hospitals, they have phone numbers you can call. I think what I always tell people to do is just like what I do. If I go to the bank and I'm not getting the desired service, I ask for their supervisor. So if you walk into a health center, maybe the person that is supposed to attend to you, you just ask to see who is board or to the ministry. The problem is that one person there may just be acting funny, but if you ask to see their supervisor, the heads, I'm sure most of those issues can be resolved at that level.
Have you not had any complaint in recent time?
That's what I'm saying. So okay,
let
me tell you. Let me you know how
for somebody like you who is in charge, of course you know that these things were supplied, you know that we have these things, and somebody comes to tell you, doctor, they say no deal.
Madam Nina, let me explain to you what happened. You know, last year we had an issue. Now, and there was this support from the US government was like suspended temporarily.
Yeah.
And because we were giving drugs that can last you for 6 months. Now, when that stopped working, you know, it came 20th when it was sworn in. Yeah. So exactly 1 year ago, that order. So now, because we were not sure what next, and because we needed to take time to know, is that interpretation that people were interpreting to mean that we didn't have drugs. It was a safety measure. Like, oh, since we now have to start making alternative plans to make sure that we have drugs, can we just reduce the supply from 6 months to 3 months? So that we make sure, what we were trying to do is to make sure that at any point in time, people working, they can have drugs. You understand? So that's what we did. So you know how people interpret what was going on, you know, most part of the early part of last year. But by the time we were able to, the federal government has released funds, and the good thing is that we're looking at local manufacture to reduce the cost. I can tell you that we've started manufacturing our test kits and buying locally. We have 2 factories, of course, in the western part of the country. So those are, even the test kits now are cheaper. But the government is still working on local manufacture of drugs. We used to actually manufacture these drugs locally some years back, but somehow that stopped. But they're working on that. So now, I think by the time we entered the last quarter of last year, by October, we have resumed giving 6 months again. They won't go now and say they are getting their 6 months.
No, here you are saying you have resumed 6 months.
No, but they know they've been receiving their 6 months, but they won't come out now to say that they got 6 months. But immediately 6 months was cut to 3 months. But there was never a time people did not get it. It's obligated, but I can tell you that throughout last year, there was never a time. The drug that I know we were in short supply, I'm picking my words, not like we were out of stock. We were never out of stock of any drug. It was the second line drug, those that have failed first line treatment. We were in short supply. So some facilities they have, but once they make requests, they are supplied.
Okay. So the issue of there are no drugs.
No, never. Not even with the stop work order. There was never a time that we ran out of drugs. As a state, as a country, there was never a time that we ran out of drugs.
Okay. We've done a whole lot of, you know, in the state here with you and even the primary healthcare management board. I know you've done a whole lot of awareness campaign, you know, giving of drugs. But then, I don't know how to put it so that I want to talk about the rate.
Okay.
You know, some are of the view that the rate of people living with